Hi everyone. You may remember uh, this beautiful and wonderful young lady, Razan al-Najjar, who was shot and killed by an IDF soldier on June the 1st during the Great March of Return. She was a medic who the people in Gaza said was just treating somebody who had been overcome by tear gas, and she was shot. The IDF obviously denied this. They conducted their own investigation. This is from Haaretz at the time. Gaza medic killed on border wasn't intentionally shot by Israeli soldiers. Military finds. Well, there's been another investigation that's concluded. This one's concluded in the last couple of days. This is by the human rights group B'Tselem. And this is from the Electronic Intifada today. Israeli sniper deliberately killed medic Razan al-Najjar, investigation finds. I'm going to find this under I am shocked to find this out, that she was deliberately killed. The article says this: an Israeli sniper deliberately targeted Palestinian medic Razan al-Najjar. An investigation by the human rights group B'Tselem has found. Al-Najjar, 21, was killed on 1st of June as she and her colleagues were treated Palestinians taking part in the Great March of Return protests in Gaza, near the boundary fence with Israel east of Khan Yunis. According to B'Tselem, Al-Najjar was fatally shot by a member of the security forces who was aiming directly at her as she was standing about 25 meters away from the fence, despite the fact that she posed no danger to him or anyone else and was wearing a medical uniform. Shortly before she was killed, Al-Najjar was with several other paramedics, including Rami Abu Jazar, Rasha Khedaya, Rida Al-Najjar, and Mahmoud Abd al-Ati. I'm very sorry if I've got any of your names mispronounced there. All were wearing clearly marked medical vests. They were approaching the area of the fence with their hands in the air in order to rescue two men who had passed out due to the heavy amounts of tear gas the Israelis were firing. Quote, we got to the two young men, and when we started evacuating them, the soldiers started firing a heavy barrage of tear gas canisters at us, Abu Jazar told B'Tselem. Razan al-Najjar and Khedaya began choking, and they withdrew from the area in order to receive treatment from their colleagues Abu Jazar and Abd al-Ati. Al-Ati told B'Tselem how he had given Razan al-Najjar first aid to treat the tear gas inhalation, and that shortly after, quote, we went back and stood northwest of the protesters, about 10 to 20 meters away from the concertina fence. Other colleagues managed to bring the two young men to safety. After we moved away, he said, we started feeling better and decided to go closer to the protesters. We stood about 10 meters away from them, which was about 25 meters away from the fence. There were no protesters near us. That is when an Israeli sniper deliberately targeted Razan al-Najjar. At around 5:45, we saw two soldiers get out of a military jeep, kneel and aim their guns at us, taking up a sniper stance, Jazar said. Razan was standing to my right and Rasha was behind me. We were talking and suddenly they fired two live bullets at us. I looked at Razan and saw her point to her back and then fall down. Abu Jazar was also shot in the leg, and Al-Ati was hit by shrapnel in the right hand and the pelvis. Right hand and pelvis. Then, according to Al-Ati, two soldiers got out of the military jeep and pointed their guns at us. They fired two bullets at us. One hit Razan al-Najjar in the left side of the chest and exited from her back, while Al-Ati was hit by fragments from a live round. Razan al-Najjar was taken to the European hospital near Khan Yunis, and after 30 minutes of resuscitation effects, was pronounced dead. B'Tselem notes how the Israeli military tried to clear itself of responsibility for al-Najjar's death by offering varying accounts. At first, the army claimed that soldiers did not fire directly at al-Najjar. Then the army claimed the medic might have been killed by a ricocheting bullet, and finally it resorted to a smear campaign accusing al-Najjar of offering herself up as a human shield for Hamas. And that's pretty much what they said about the whole Great March of Return in the end, that Hamas were using these protesters and these medics and these journalists as human shields. That's obviously what they said, and it was parroted by right-wing Israeli supporting commenters online, such as Ben Shapiro. Al-Najjar's killing, the human rights group states, is a direct result of the open fire policy Israel has been implementing since the protests began. I've got not much to add to this story other than to say this. Razan al-Najjar is a hero. She's a brave young woman, a brave young woman who tragically lost her life because of Israel's wicked crimes and wicked policy towards Palestinians and Gaza. And this is why, in my opinion, whenever we are addressing the argument against Israel and against their horrific human rights violations against Palestinians and Gaza, there is no need to even say, I'm going to say it in this video just to prove a point, but there's no need to even say Zionism. There's no need to say the word Jewish. You can just literally just throw those things away and concentrate on the story. Because as soon as you bring up Zionism or Jewish, then they instantly fall back to their defense of you're being anti-Semitic, which is I've pointed out many times now. Palestinians are Arabs. If you want to talk about Arabs are Semites. If you want to talk about anti-Semitism, look at the treatment of Palestinians. That, by very definition, is anti-Semitic. We don't need to go down that route, though. We don't need to bring up Jewish or Judaism, and we don't need to talk about Zionist or Zionism. We don't need to if we stick to these stories of these horrific crimes where a young 21-year-old brave, intelligent, beautiful and courageous woman is shot dead in cold blood by an IDF sniper. We just have to stick to the story. That's it. We just have to stick to the story. We just have to stick to the crimes that these Israelis are doing against Palestinians and Gaza especially. That's all we need to do. There's no need to go into the realms of those two words, because then you're literally loading their ammunition for them. I mean, it's not a defense. We know it's not a defense, but it's a defense that they can use. If you don't bring up those things, then they can't even use that. They have to stick to the facts. And if we continue to shine a light on these horrible crimes that Israel are perpetrating against wonderful young people like Razan, then maybe we can get some traction on the BDS movement. Because that is the way South Africa and their apartheid state was ripped apart. It was primarily because of BDS. Because the rest of the world said, no, we're not going to tolerate this. We need to do that too. Boycott, divest, sanction. Leave the talks of Zionism and leave the talks of Jewish and Judaism. Leave those talks for another day. Put them aside. Concentrate on these horrific stories. Because that's what I intend to do. I intend to shine a light on these horrific crimes where they are killing in cold blood beautiful and courageous and intelligent and wonderful young people like that, just because they are helping people who are in trouble. BDS, boycott, divest, sanction. That's what we need to do. If you enjoyed this video, please click the bell down there and subscribe so you get a notification of next time I drop a video. Also, I can't do this without your help, so if you can afford it and you enjoy my videos, please support the channel by subscribing to my Patreon. Link is down there. You can do it for as little as $1 a month, and it really does help. If you can't afford it, that's fine. Please share my work and talk to other people about the issues that I bring up. Thanks very much for your support. Until next time, peace and take care.